Hello, I'm Robin, she, they, pronouns, and today I'm going to talk about something that I'd really rather not talk about: toilets, public loos. Here's the thing, this is one of the things that especially transphobes use to target trans women, especially non-conforming trans women such as myself. Because I'm fully aware that I don't sound like a woman. But the thing is that if I'm out and about in society, society, that thing that we all enjoy, there sometimes comes a time when I have to use a public loo, a lavatory, a toilet, a bathroom, if you're from the States, which is kind of weird to me because bathroom is a room that contains a bath. But anyway, that's neither here nor there really. The thing is, some people seem to think that somebody transitions with the intent of entering private spaces. It's always women's private spaces, it's never men's private spaces, which is another weird dichotomy, because women can be violent to men. It doesn't seem to be recognised a lot by society, but that's another thing that is really not what I'm here to talk about today. I just want to say, if I had any designs on attacking another woman, do you think I'd go to the trouble of transitioning to do it, really? Or do you think I'd just walk in and do it? I have gone through medical transition. It's why I have these breasts. Just in case you haven't seen any of my other videos, I'm not wearing a bra, I'm not wearing any padding. These are what I have. I'm not, if I use a toilet, it's not to scare anybody. And I'm very conscious of scaring people. I don't want to do it. I make sure I don't use my voice if I go into one of those labs. Because at least some people do read me as a woman. Now, yeah, I could go in the gents, and maybe, although I haven't been in the gents for 4 years now, that may well be in my future. In the UK, there's all this rhetoric about the Equality Act and what it means. What it means is that it's clearly stated anyone who's proposing to, or undergoing, or has undergone gender transition is permitted to use those facilities subject to reasonable, proportionate safeguards, which is not defined within the Act. But what do you think I'm going to do? I use the loo. I go into a cubicle. I use the loo there. I come out, I wash my hands, and I go about my business, same as everybody else. If I had designs on attacking someone or something like that, I would not have gone through transition to do it. You try and find cases where a trans person has been the cause of problems. And when I say that, I don't mean when cis people have clocked a trans person going in the toilet and then cause the problems, because it is they who are causing the problems in that case. It is, I don't know, what do they call it? A straw man argument? I really don't know. Most of the time, when I'm in public and I use a loo, nobody bats an eyelid. Really? There's been one occasion which I might talk about in a future video. It was really upsetting for me because it made me feel that I don't belong in society. And this is trying people and convicting them before they've even done anything. There were laws in place against violence. There were laws in place against violence in safe spaces, voyeurism laws and all that sort of stuff, which is obviously abuse. There is no need for more laws. There's no need for laws stopping trans women from using the women's bathroom. There is a YouTube streamer, Ty Turner. He's a trans man and he has a story about what it's like for him in his state, and I really feel for him. I would have the same sort of problem, but the other way around, if I was in his state. But I don't think it's as bad for him because he's a trans man. He looks like a man, but in his state, under the law, he has to use the women's toilets. He doesn't. At least he says he doesn't. I mean, I can't say one way or the other. I don't know him as such, but it's really the most common sense approach is, if you look like a man, you use the men's toilet. If you look like a woman, you use the women's toilet. I do carry a radar key because I do have anxiety. I've got anxiety. The anxiety, the general anxiety I used to have, has been replaced with specific anxiety about going in single-sex spaces. But the other thing is, toilets don't need to be single-sex spaces. You've often got attendants that are of the other sex, as public loos often have notices up saying that somebody of the opposite sex is an attendant in a toilet. And really, it's not something that is the cause of any problem. If it was the cause of a problem, if there was a single cause, a problem caused by a trans person, the right-wing media would be all over it. This is not about forcing people, it's not about protecting women. It's about trying to make sure that those who don't feel the need to conform to the gender stereotype, such as myself, I identify, at least at the moment, as a non-binary trans woman. It's not about protecting women from trans women. It's about trying to erase trans people from society. So it's just a bit of food for thought. there was a comedian recently that said, they talked of, and it was presented in a comedic way, but he talked about some man with a knife and he's chasing a woman, and the woman enters a women's loo and he stops at the door, and then he's like, wait a minute, I can't go in there, I'd need to transition first. Or wait a minute, I can't go in there because I haven't had the pills or whatever. How silly does that sound? If he did go in there, if he did attack a woman, do you think the first thing the authorities would throw at him would be, you're a man in a woman's space? No, of course not. It would be, you have attacked a woman. You are a violent person. From that angle, they're going to go for a conviction, not from, even if he were to say, well, I identify as a woman, and I mean, it's something you can't disprove if somebody says it. And if you're a cis person, that's probably actually a really hard thing to say. Your identity, if it's trans, you do something about it. If you're cis, you obviously don't have to do anything about it. You probably don't even think about it. But this thing about toilets, it needs to stop. We're not a threat to women. And if laws are put in place that restrict this, you might see a society where trans men are using the women's loo because that's what the law says. You might see a society where I, with my breasts, go into the men's loo. The best loos are the unisex ones. It surprised me that some countries don't appear to have them, but you've got a collection of stalls that have the toilets within them. You don't have any urinals. Outside of the stalls, you have washing facilities, but it's all contained within one big toilet room, and they work fine. And they're actually the best. I mean, I don't see why it should be segregated. But they want to keep us from society. That's what all this is about. It's not going to happen. We have to live our lives. We've got to go and get groceries. For a quality level of life, some of us are going to want to go to clubs and theatres and this, that and the other. Oh, and by the way, women's loos are not better than men's loos. I've got experience of both, and I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt. You can have some pretty horrible women's loos as well as men's loos. Being horrible is not something just applied to men's loos. That'll do for today. Please feel free to add any comments to the chat if you wish. Make sure they're respectful. Be kind in the comments. And don't feed any trolls in the comments. Thank you so much. I will see you again. Thank you.